TWC's wildlife hotline received word that there was an owl on the ground outside an office building with large windows. She hadn't moved for hours. Soon, rescue teams Darlene and Sarah arrived at the scene.
So we had received a call from an office of some sort that faces out to the front of the building. There was like bushes there, and I guess they had seen the owl sitting on the ground for the day, and they became concerned when it was still there. So they reached out to us. We suspected that the owl had likely hit the window or being clipped by a truck or something. Something must have happened. It's not normal for an owl to be on the ground like that during the day for prolonged times. So we went, and the owl was still there. So Sarah and I were working together, and we just went in on both ends just to make sure he didn't have a getaway in case he did have enough strength to fly off. Sarah came from behind. I popped a net over him. We were able to contain the owl and brought the owl in. And apparently there's been a lot of stuff that's happened with this owl since, and wing injuries, so we're really happy we were able to bring him in.
Darlene was absolutely right. This owl needed to be brought in for medical care. At TWC, veterinarian Dr. Cameron Berg and wildlife rehabilitator Heather began her physical exam, and although she seemed lively, they quickly discovered a serious injury.
On admit, a short-eared owl was actually quite bright, feisty, and resisted our handling. One thing that we noticed right away was that she was drooping her left wing, and on a quick palpation, we noticed that she had this palpable crepitus, or kind of the sound of the bones grinding on each other and the motion in there. So that helps us confirm a fracture, which we then confirmed with an x-ray. So this owl presented with a humeral fracture, which is the bone in the upper part of the arm or wing. These types of fractures need to be surgically stabilized because they have very little to hold them together in alignment that allows the body to heal. So these types of fractures need to be repaired surgically with a lot of attention to the orientation and the alignment of the wing.
The team carefully wrapped the owl's broken wing to prevent movement that could cause further damage and gave her medication to help ease the pain. When ready, she was prepared for surgery. Soon, she was fully sedated, and the medical team began to work to pin the broken bone in her wing.
So the general approach to these is we use pins that we'll insert through the bone, and we'll back it down to have a pin running through the bone from the top to the bottom. And then we'll also put in 2 pins through the sides, and we'll tie those all together in a big external fixator that helps keep the wing in place and in the right rotational alignment, which are the 2 most important things for these to heal.
This kind of surgery is incredibly intricate, and there are serious risks involved. But the team was unwavering, determined to help this bird fly again.
One thing that made this surgery more challenging is the location of it. Most of the time this bone fracture is kind of in the middle of it, but this was fractured more towards the shoulder, which makes the surgery much more difficult to do. But surgery in this owl actually went very well. Took about 2 hours less than I expected it to, and I was able to actually identify the pieces very quickly, minimize blood loss, and put it all together in a really good alignment that I was pretty surprised and proud of myself and my team being able to do. I was feeling relieved for sure. Anytime we make it out of surgery, especially one of these longer surgeries, is always a bit of a relief because these patients can do poorly under anesthesia, or anesthesia always carries a risk for them. So the faster we can get through, the better the outcome tends to be.
The resilient owl made it through surgery and was now ready for the next stage of her healing journey.
So recovery from this kind of surgery is a bit of a long process. It takes a couple weeks to go through as we let the bone heal and the soft tissues heal, as well as let all the feathers that we had to remove regrow. It basically involves these weekly checks of x-rays to make sure that the bone is still healing and still in alignment, and that all our pins have not broken or are still in the right position. As we go through, the more that we see the bone healing and callousing, the more we can start removing the fixation and the bar that's holding it in place. So today, this is our 2-week mark. Hey, look at that alignment. We ended up disconnecting the pin that runs through the bone from the rest of the bar. That allows it to introduce a little bit of motion, which encourages the body to lay down more calcium and more bone in the spot. As we go forward, we'll remove gradually different pieces of it, and then we'll start to work on exercise and rebuilding all that muscle that the patient lost from not being able to flap for so long. Basically, once they reach that point where we remove the fixator, all they have to do is exercise and make sure that their feathers are doing well, and then they can be released.
For now, the owl is continuing her recovery, receiving the daily treatment and care she needs to build her strength and regain her flight. If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit the bell to be notified when we share new content. We would also love if you shared this video with a friend.